Hello guys, and this video is going to be a beautiful mix of the Russian geography lesson, I may say deep Russian geography lesson, with panic and magical thinking inside the Russian Federation. Because every time Ukrainian drones reach, from the Russian perspective, unreachable targets, 1,000 kilometers away from the Ukrainian border, they start looking for some explanation because they simply cannot believe they are that weak. Russian population was fed by internal propaganda for decades, if not centuries, that they are invincible, that they have really great army, and now with every month this image becomes more and more distorted in their eyes. First, the attacks on oil refineries, arsenals, military airfields close to the front lines, but literally with each day we are able to demilitarize more objects in the Russian area. Orenburg region is located on the border with Kazakhstan. Russians could not believe that our drones can travel more than 1,000 kilometers. So in their chats, they started developing theories about Ukrainian sabotage groups crossing the border from Kazakhstan to demilitarize, by the way, an important object there, Russian missile base located in the city. So let's discuss what were we demilitarizing in Orenburg and why this causes serious panic inside Russia. Well, obviously, because they also believe that the only working peace plan is the one of Ukraine to defeat their falling, collapsing Russian Federation. And we are working on that. My name is Anna, I'm from Ukraine, I'm in Ukraine, and if you want to see the collapse of the Kremlin regime, subscribe, we will discuss that on the channel really soon. So, to tell you the truth, as a Ukrainian, I feel very proud that literally with every week, Ukrainian drones can do more to bring lasting peace in our part of the world and in general to this planet. Because the only working peace plan is to defeat, demilitarize Russia and to teach an important lesson to other authoritarian regimes. So tonight, Ukrainian drones, which Russians describe as unknown drones, maybe they are from Mars, I don't know. So these unknown Ukrainian drones targeted an important military object in Orenburg region. They have a missile base, rocket base located close to the city, and it exploded today after the visit of this unknown flying object. Orenburg is a region in Russia in the city located very far away from the Ukrainian border, more than 1,000 kilometers. It is actually 1,500 kilometers away from Moscow. So even for people living in Moscow, it is very far away on the border with Kazakhstan. By the way, an important reminder, the Russian Federation is not all Russian. There are hundreds of beautiful indigenous peoples that are now suppressed by the Kremlin, who constantly steals their resources, erases their languages and cultures, and builds its bloody economic war machine on these regions. And decolonization of Russia is very real. Watch my interview with Valery Pekar to get some really interesting thoughts. So Orenburg was once a capital of Kyrgyz, Kazakh people, and it's inhabited by Tatars, by Kazakhs, by Bashkirs, by Ukrainians, not just Russians. But it is indeed very far away from Ukraine, and Russians could not accept the idea that our drones managed to travel that far away, unstoppable. So they started developing various theories. And the most popular one on their Telegram channels is that a Ukrainian sabotage group or even a reconnaissance group. English teachers in the comments below help me with the pronunciation of this word. But anyway, crossed the border from Kazakhstan to demilitarize that object in Orenburg. Well, honestly, I love both versions. Whether our drones managed to travel that far, deep inside the Russian area, and their air defense failed, or it's a sabotage group traveling from Kazakhstan to Orenburg to do the important demilitarization. Both versions are good for me. Let me know in the comments below what do you think is more likely, and subscribe if you're new to demonstrate your solidarity with Ukraine and to get Ukraine security guarantees, because I'm not joking and I'm not exaggerating. In this chaotic, very weak world, I do believe that Ukraine, with your support, can become one of the best guarantors of peace, security, and freedom. Because you see how quickly authoritarian regimes back each other up, and we hear about thousands of North Koreans now traveling to Russia to build Shahed drones to kill us. And what is the answer of the coalition of the willing from the White House? Nothing. Perhaps 2 more weeks to observe how they target our homes and hospitals. And this cowardice, this fear, this escalation management definitely inspires us to develop more drones, to demilitarize more Russian legitimate objects, military objects, thus to save our homes, our lives. And with this kind of determination, we can also be useful to your countries, because it all resembles, Europe in the early 30s, when appeasement was chosen as the main strategy. Just like, tell me please, what is the difference between appeasement and escalation management? I believe there is none. So, Ukrainian drones are able to do tremendous things. We have land drones, sea drones, long-range drones, missiles, and they perform a lot of important tasks. At the same time, they are quite inexpensive in comparison to cruise missile carriers, to missiles, and also, by the way, this interception systems, they are not that developed and tailored to drones. This is our problem, but this is also our opportunity to target military arsenals, this missile bases and other stuff inside Russia. This definitely demonstrates that Russian air defense is very weak. They don't have enough, because they also believe their own propaganda that they are invincible. I have read one article that I find very true. It is both thought-provoking, unpleasant, and pleasant, but many people outside Ukraine speak that they feel sorry for Ukraine, they sympathize us, they want to support us, but at the same time, they do not fully see us as a victim, because a victim has to suffer, cry, mourn, and accept more and more problems and wounds and attacks from the aggressor. Ukraine does all of that, but also, fights back, and fights back very successfully, hitting where it hurts most, like our spiderweb operation, with like 1/3 of Russian strategic aviation erased during just a couple of hours. So I'm okay with the fact that we are not an ideal, a prototypical victim. I don't want my country to be a victim. I don't want to be a victim myself. I am, unfortunately, because for the Russians, everyone is a target here. But from the other point of view, I'm happy that we stand for our country, that we stand for our lives, that we want to protect our future. And as the world becomes more authoritarian, more dangerous, more aggressive, it seems like it's not just Ukraine who needs Ukrainian strength, resilience, and knowledge. And Russians are different. They believed their own propaganda. They are prepared to bully, to harass, but not to defend themselves. And every time we defeat something, we destroy something deep inside the Russian rear, they cannot believe it's happening. They see their airlines is not working, their airports closed because of Ukrainian drones doing the important job. They hear explosions, they already know what is an air raid alert. Something that seemed totally impossible before the full-scale invasion is the new reality of Russia, because they chose the war, they wanted the war, and they invited it back home. It is always like that. And to bring lasting peace, We need to defeat them. We need to destroy all of their arsenals, all of their missiles, all of their war criminals. We need to deliver this justice, be it with drones or somewhere in The Hague. I love all of these versions. Same as about an object demilitarized in Orenburg. Whether it is a Ukrainian sabotage group or maybe not Ukrainian, maybe some peoples are waking up inside the Russian Federation. Maybe these are Bashkirs or someone else. Who knows? Whether this is a sabotage group working with drones to demilitarize a rocket base in Orenburg, or Ukrainian drones that were able to travel that far away deep inside the Russian area, both versions are okay for me. It is time to accept that Russia is a paper tiger, a toilet paper tiger. Those who defend it or try to defend it politically, diplomatically like Trump will fail and go down in history as losers. And if you want to be safe, sound, respected and protected, stand with Ukraine. Ukraine is not a burden. Ukraine is an asset. And do watch my recent video about Ukraine and nuclear weapons. How do we feel about that on my channel Anna Danilchuk, where I share weekly videos, and I connect a link to this video here. Also, subscribe to my X, Instagram, Blue Sky, Threads to see more updates from the everyday life in Ukraine and, for example, my recent trip to Kyiv for the 42nd NEFO convoy, and I'm very grateful that you made it possible. And also join the Discord community, the link's in the description of the video, same as the link to our merch shop with lots of good items that help you remind people about Ukrainian bravery and resilience, and we need that a lot. Thank you for buying me coffees, becoming my patrons and sponsors of the channel, but most importantly, thank you for standing with Ukraine. I love you. Slava Ukraini!